Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talking about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point, the day after the great elections in the Republic. In these United States, we are making America great again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point, the most stable. Whether you like this show or not, when you turn it off, or a week later when you come, the same faces are here. We don't run. We are not like the regular color. We don't run. These colors are stable. We stick with what we believe in. We plan our polls, and this is who we are. We may not have 10,000 viewers, but you will be reliably informed from all sides. And with me today, as usual, is my co-host, Jimmy Eastman. How you doing there, sir, from the nation's capital?
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Calling in from the nation's capital. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get to it.
Great. Dr. Fidel, across the ocean, ladies and gentlemen, I am a Chelsea fan, and I like what I saw today. Welcome to you. Hopefully you are not an Arsenal fan.
I'm definitely an Arsenal fan today, man.
I'm sorry.
You guys are very fortunate to get back into the game, and I'm hoping tonight you're not going to bring that kind of Chelsea strategy onto the show and try and focus on something.
Go Blues!
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, okay, great. Mr. Anthony Gay.
Yes, sir. I'll be my blue as well.
That's right. That's right.
You are I'm a Chelsea fan, die-hard Chelsea fan, been to the stadium.
I've sent your sister to love, brother to love, as we're here. And I'm disappointed that you are not wearing the blue. But go ahead, sir. Welcome.
I got some blue in my shirt anyway. But hey, listen, I'm grateful that I'm here. But also we got some serious topic we got to discuss. So can't wait.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. Stable, strong, determined, opinionated. He's ready to rock and roll. How in Houston? How are we doing there, sir?
Houston is doing pretty good. It's a little bit, we have a little bit of overcast today, but everything is good. And I look forward to being part of the discussion today.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, please do us a favor, share our show. I know we got the 49ers playing. We got all the games on. That's fine. We want you to join us so we can actually have a discussion here. We are going to be talking about issues that demands your input through your comments, through your participation. We need to discuss our nation. The Republic of Liberia is in peril. the country, our beloved nation, we don't know where we are headed. I am an old Liberian that has been around since Talbot time, and I have never seen Liberia this disorganized, upside down, to some chaotic. We have Mr. Eastman here who is going to back me up. We are from the old school. We have seen Todman to some degree. Talbot in his entirety as president. We saw a little bit of Doe. We saw a little bit of Taylor. We saw the interim government. We saw the entire Ellen government. And we saw the entire Weah government. So when we are telling you that we bring to bear a wealth of knowledge, we can tell you we have never seen Liberia in this form. You may say I'm biased, and you may have your point, but you will have to debunk what we are saying here. Have we ever had a Liberian government where we did not have a leadership in the House? Have we ever had a government where the country is going down the drain and we have not heard a nationwide address? Have we have a nation where when we are going down this line, we do not have the Franklin D. Roosevelt movement where he said a fireside chat, where he brings the country together and say, ladies and gentlemen, we are going through some tough time, but better times ahead, I am in control. I have never seen Liberia in this form. Mr. Eastman.
Yeah.
I am starting with you.
You know, like everywhere else, there has to be an evolution. Liberia is evolving. And it's very important as we evolve that we mold the youth in a way so the result, the evolution, will be favorable. What we see going on, just like you said, is not characteristic. We see a lot of infighting at the legislature, and it's been characteristic of recent. This is the third time since the end of the ceasefire. This is the third time it's happened. So what is clearly I think in one way it's good because it's showing democracy and politics in practice. But it definitely, we're going to need a clear leader in the end that people will be able to rally behind, who will set the vision, who will maintain the stability and the course. So what I see coming up is there's going to be a leader that will emerge from all of this, and that will determine the direction we will go. Because we're not doing anything with our institutions. If our institutions were functioning properly, we could be molding our youth, molding our people. But with that, with the lack of resources and investment in our institutions, there's no telling where we'll end up going. So it's a new day, Liberia, but we will see a leader come out of this in the end, though. That's how I see it.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, share this show. Let's get involved. Thank you very much. In your chat room, and Mr. Eastman, could you please share this show in our chat room so I can be able to share?
Okay, I will do that.
Dr. Booty, the continuing saga at the House of Representatives, when we talk about lack of leadership, we were supposed to receive the budget of the Republic of Liberia as stipulated by the Constitution of Liberia. Instead, we got a letter, not from the president, but from the office of the president, and not to the Speaker of the House, but to the clerk of the House. I guess I'm not a lawyer, but in law, some people say if it's not done right at all, it's not done at all. If it's not done correctly, it's not done at all. So here you are, the president wants to delay the presentation of the budget instead of, welcome, Mr. Patmore. Oh, Miguel.
I'll be right there.
Oh, Miguel, come back to Puerto Rico. Okay, so here we are. we, Dr. Booty, the letter was not from the President of the Republic, and the letter was not to the Speaker of the House. Instead, the letter came from the office of the President to the office clerk of the House. Mr. Booty, some politicians are saying this is a shenanigan. Go ahead.
I think first of all, last week on the show, some of us, well, I basically said it. We had to wait and see, and that we weren't sure that this president or his government, as in the executive, had any hand in what was going on at the legislature or in the House of Representatives. I think this is a clear indication to some of us to say, hey, we are actually involved. We're actually trying to unseat the speaker, because the speaker is still legally the Speaker of the House of Representatives. With all of the shenanigans that are going on at the House, he is the Speaker. Every communication that has to go to the House of Representatives as it regards to delaying the budget, which is their duty, they control the purse strings of the Republic, should go to the office of the Speaker. So I think the president is showing his hand. I think he's emboldened, if I should say so, by the fact that he has been as lawless as he has over the 10 months or so that he's been in power, and there hasn't been any check on him, right? Nobody, not the legislature, not the judiciary, has put any sustain or any check whatsoever. The president decides that LTA leadership needs to go. He does it even with what the Supreme Court said was illegal. He decides to suspend the head of the Central Bank of Liberia, which again was illegal. Nobody said anything. So obviously he is emboldened. That's why he's now trying to bypass the Speaker of the House very disrespectfully. I think one of the things that I was reflecting on is, and forgive me, Mr. Eastman and Mr. Fatmo, but when the Congo Body were in power, we didn't have this kind of infighting in the legislature, right? So up until Samuel Doe came and took over, these kind of conversations were held behind the scenes. If there were disagreements, people would meet and trash it out, and there was a unified force in our government, which made Liberia a respected partner in Africa, a respected partner in the international sector, right? International arena. To see ECOWAS, that we basically created, with other members of Africa at the time, coming to us. It's almost like mama and papa in the house, you're arguing there, your 2-year-old son can't tell you, say, you start making noise, though, you think you're doing that. That's basically what's happening right now. ECOWAS is coming to us, right, to tell us. We're at least 100 years older than ECOWAS. ECOWAS is coming to us to tell us, look, you stop this thing you're doing. If that doesn't tell every Liberian that this is a complete mess that we're in, then I don't know what else can tell you that.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, share this show. Share the show in your chat room. Those of us who cannot share because of whatever reason, we are depending on you to do, and we'll read your comment. Let me segue into just what you said. Let me read this letter. And this is the headline. ECOWAS sending mediation mission to Liberia to help resolve the impasse in the House legislative branch. And it goes on to say Monrovia, the Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament, Honorable Haja Mamadou Ibrahima, has extended warm greeting to the people of Liberia and stressed recent strides made in the country, particularly the successful transition of power in November 2023. However, she expressed deep concerns over the ongoing political impasse within the Liberian House of Representatives, which she said threatens the stability and security of the region. There are those who say, well, we are a sovereign nation, no one can tell us anything. This language tells you that your being, your state of being, was brought about because of the security of the region that came and brought peace. And they lost more men and dollars to get us to where we are. So they have a stake. They are not coming back here to lose 30,000 men. Mr. Gay.
Sir. Look, good evening, fellow panelists, first of all, and good evening to our followers and our audience. Mr. Gilman, this is very unfortunate for us. I want to remind many young Liberians today, those of you who were born the very year Charles Taylor became president of Liberia, if you were born that year, whether boy or girl, you are 27 years of age today in counting. 27 years of uncertainty, 27 years of abject poverty, 27 years of lawlessness, 27 years of impunity, and the list goes on. This is sad for Liberia. This is not a time for us to sit here and act that, oh, it's just politics. For those of you who study criminal justice and are sitting on the sideline calling yourself propagandists and whatnot, it is your right to do so. I am not a supporter of Speaker Kofa. I am a defender of the Constitution of Liberia. And that position called the speakership is what we are fighting for. If you place your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat those words by saying that you will uphold, defend, and protect the Constitution of Liberia, and so help me God, and you go down there and try to do otherwise, a framer of the Constitution, the new den, and that circumstances like these can happen. This is the reason why there is no such thing in the Constitution called majority block. There are prescriptions, procedures as to how you can remove your leader. If you do not have the numbers, you follow the process. For the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuman Boakai, to sit there and letter originating from his office, going to the chief clerk, whereas Article 49 makes it clear as to who is the head of the legislature. The chief clerk is not the head of the legislature. If the executive branch should communicate with the legislature's branch, the communication is directly, strictly to the head of that branch. Especially when we're talking about the national budget. The first budget was sent to the speaker. Why are you changing course now, sending the budget to the chief clerk? So if they want to play politics, it's the prerogative of the president. It is his decision. I'm not going to argue his decision. But one thing for sure, that the Liberian people are sick and tired, and enough is enough. We are not going to sit on the sideline to allow this thing to happen. For how long? And how can we sit here and hope that some kind of injury from somewhere will come and save us. So ECOWAS have a lot at stake. Their blood, sweat, and money, resources have been put into Liberia for the freedom that we are enjoying today. They are paid some ultimate prices that we cannot pay them back with. Anyone who say ECOWAS cannot meddle in our matters, then they don't understand what ECOWAS is for and what ECOWAS has done for us. They are ungrateful and they need to repent of their sins, because ECOWAS paid the ultimate price that some other Liberian would not pay for us.
Great. 1 minute. Mr. Timekeeper, can you put your time back on?
And so I'm going to conclude by saying,
yeah, go ahead.
If you're a Liberian out there, if you're wondering what is happening, if you love your country, if you're a true patriotic Liberian, stand up for the Constitution. There is no such thing called majority black in your Constitution. There is no such thing called political theater in your Constitution. Yes, they managed to have removed 2 speakers unconstitutionally, illegally. And so they want to use the same means as a way of precedent. And we cannot sit here and allow this to happen. They will only take us serious if we stand up for our rights. And I urge you to stand up.
Thank you. Mr. Tao, we got 2 minutes on this. We got so minutes to go through here. But before you get on, let me read a brief snippet of what the former pro tem said. It said, Senator Augustin Chair writes, why was the budget not submitted to the speaker? He says, the communication from the acting minister of state addressed to the chief clerk of the House of Representatives instead of the speaker on the postponement of the submission of the national budget for 2025 is a replication of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf era constitutional breaches in previous House removal. Not submitting the budget to the speaker, to Speaker Kofa, and further degrading the speaker's constitutional authority by writing the chief clerk had drawn the presidency directly into the conflict. Mr. Tao.
Yeah, so in the first place, everything that is going on, I see that we are caught up into this and we're trying to grab our bits and pieces of the whole rotten system. The standard that the democracy has set for us is so low and is so dirty that we are grabbing at Speaker Che, we are grabbing at Kofa, and these guys are the gangs and gangsters that have hijacked this country. So I want for them to really speak to the Liberian people and to order the youth. Don't let no one tell you to get on the street, to go demonstrate. Anyone that is telling you is not calling you for you to demonstrate for Liberia. They are using Liberia as the pretext so that you can go and demonstrate for the interest of people like Kofa, people like Che, people like Kabina Jen, or whoever they are, or even Boyka, or Wea. The same thing that made the take gun when they came, they say it was for Liberia, and you were used as scapegoat. It's the same thing. Every time, the system right here is very corrupt. Individuals sitting there, and they use it as the vehicle through which they achieve their hidden agendas and interests. So none of you should go and get on no street. Let them deal with the longer the house and all of the guys are even out of session is good for you. All of the time that they've been in session for 18 years, what have they done? Only for them to steal and loot, write checks for each other, buy each other vehicles at your expense. So you are not losing anything. But look, to ECOWAS have no teeth to bite. So their going there will not lead to anything. They can't enforce anything.
Thank you. Mr. Padmore, thank you for keeping the time. Here
No
we
problem.
are. The gentleman who was one of Ellie Johnson red-hand men who were there when two speakers were removed is saying, this is Ellie 2.0, 3.0. We did it twice. And it worked. And he laid down, the letter is long, but he laid out the steps, the constitution, the ruling, why the ruling that way, why it didn't favor anybody, why it boils down to going back to chamber, getting your quorum, putting your issue on the floor. When it reaches the speaker, he recuses himself. The deputy speaker takes over. They cast a vote. If you get your 49, he moves. If you don't have your 49, give him back his chair. This is what our chair says, sir. Your take.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's mind-boggling that we are here again. It clearly shows. I think the executive, first we had Unity Party. Every single member of the House under the Unity Party coalition was a member of this. That was our first sign. But people are still trying to shoot the president. Trying to create this guy of wisdom that is always on the right hand side and all this stuff, trying to shield him. But it's come to the point now. You have to show your hands, and I think the president showed his hands this time. This is classic Unity Party. I don't know why people are surprised. This is Unity Party. We had them for 12 years. This is what Unity Party does. Okay, they control everything, and where you do not allow yourself to be controlled, they come after you and they will destroy you. They will break you down until either you succumb to them or you are politically destroyed. And if they can do it to their own. That's how they start. They will show you that they can do it to their own. So you who not a part of them, what about you that's not a part of them? So this is classic Unity Party, I'm glad the president has shown his hand so everybody can see. This crazy delay tactic. Everybody know the budget is ready to go. Everybody knows the budget was ready to go. This was for Unity Party. There's something they've been working on very rigorously for a long time because they wanted the budget to be on time so that they could get things approved on time and they could kick off the year. So everybody know the budget has already been prepared. It's ready to go. The reason why they're holding on to that budget is because the money that is in that budget for the House of Representatives, if they put that budget in Kofa here, that whole majority block will collapse. It will collapse because all those people you see sitting there talking about majority black, all of them will come running to Kofa because they want a piece of the pie. You can't be over there and then Kofa divide money. It will not happen. If you want money within your committee, you will see that whole majority, and that is what they are holding on to. That's why they pushed this thing before they got the 49, because they wanted to cut him off before the budget came, because that is the control, And so here we are now. We are at this point where the president has shown his hand, and now we have our friends from ECOWAS coming in and saying, "Look, gentlemen, you need to do something." At this point, it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing, and we'll continue to watch and see what happens. I'm glad that Senator Kofa has taken a stand. I'm glad that the president has shown his hand. So now he cannot go back to Kofa and try to convince Kofa to resign, but he's shown that he's against Kofa. And I think Mr. Tawo talked about a corrupt system, but in order to fix the system, you have to hold true to the law. And I'm glad that even if for those who do not like Kofa, who do not agree with Kofa, are holding on to the law. Because with all law, there's chaos. And that's what we need to avoid. And that's what ECOWAS sees. When you go against the law, you create chaos. So that's my stance on there. You know, that's my stance on there. You know, and we'll continue to watch the saga as it continues.
Mr. Gimman, just
you mentioned your name. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you said that the law is an unjust law, a whole bunch of the law. A law that said that the House of Representatives can decide what they pay themselves, that can decide what they give themselves, decide what type of contract they sign, even if it's against the people. So don't quote the law. The law is the problem. The law that you have don't serve your interest.
Mr.
That is the problem. And look, ECOWAS have no real moral position when it comes to these things. The 90s, yes, they went to Liberia and they did that, but that is a whole nother story. Where is ECOWAS when there is a coup in Guinea? But we know why they didn't go there, because the people who control ECOWAS and fund them were responsible for that coup, but they wanted to go to Niger. Where is ECOWAS when Talon is jailing everybody next to in Benin Republic? Where is ECOWAS when Ouattara honored the support of the West in a disputed election, came and kidnapped Lawrence Gbagbo and took him to Europe and kept him there for 10 years with no charge, and they left him. But the same Ouattara then removed presidential term. Where was ECOWAS? Where is ECOWAS when rotting Nigeria, where they sit, bulletin Tinubu in the state election, Nigeria is upside down, where they have no moral value. ECOWAS is only going there so that they can just say they're going there, unless you're not following these things.
So
can I have 2 seconds? Can I just have 2 seconds?
Go ahead.
I think first of all, I think
I really need a 30 second too, please. On this the
ECOWAS Parliament is actually in Lomé, Togo. I don't think it's in Nigeria, but that's besides the point. Look, Mr. Tao, I think on the point of the law, right? We talked about this last week, and I wasn't aware of it, and I think it was it might have been Mr. Gay and Mr. Nangbe that kind of pointed it out. That on this issue of the legislature setting their own salaries, Ellen Johnson certainly, because the president has to sign the budget. If the legislature send the budget to the president, say we won't pay our set 20,000, the president say I will not sign the budget until you reduce it, the budget will not sign. So the president has a part to play. It's not just on the legislature. The president has to sign the budget into law. If the president sends it back and say no, then we know that, okay, the president is trying to do something. So it's not just a legislature. Can you say, oh, this is our budget, and then, yeah, it passed. No, the president has to sign it. So the president has a stake. The president has to push back if the president is actually interested in reducing their salaries because it's in the interest of the Liberian people. That's all I wanted to say. So the law works, but the people in there are not doing what they need to do.
I want to add a little bit to what Dr. Booty just said.
Yeah, 1 minute. One minute, Mr. Eastman. 1 minute. Mr. Gay, your 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gayman, and thank you, Dr. Booty, for that point. I want to say that since you already talked about, the president's signature. The president has a way of refusing a budget or rejecting something and making it known. And if the Senate, out of the House, disagree, they can send it back, and the president can use his veto. At that point, there's no appeal. At that point, if the president really want to have change in Liberia, the president have that bullet puppet to do that, especially when it comes to the lawmaker's salary.
Great, Mr. Eastman.
Yeah, just what to add to Mr. Tahoe's statement. Sometimes the law itself is not wrong. It's not criminal in its nature, but the way we exercise our judgment and the way we manipulate the law tends to make it unjust. In other systems, like the British, like Dr. Booty can attest to this, the British people have parliamentary system, and the body that determines salaries are not the members of the legislature or the parliament. It's another separate body that determines that in conjunction with the going rates, the economic stability in the country. All several factors go into it. But we are corrupting our systems, and it will eventually break down. We know we're not supposed to be giving ourselves these salaries. We know we're not supposed to be determining which development plans to go when we have a Ministry of Public Works, a Ministry of Finance and Planning. We know, but we keep on giving ourselves, rewarding ourselves these privileges and advantages, and eventually it's going to lead somewhere. And that's why we hear people like Kabina John coming up and saying, this is going somewhere that we don't want to go. But as long as you keep on doing this to Liberian people, we've seen this before. They will rise up because you are visibly taking advantage of them. And we're not stupid. But these right now, they feel they can do anything. So this thing will go going on with the speaker. It's not surprising. They wanted to get the speaker out of there before. There's been allegations of bribery. Nobody is talking about the bribery because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to persecute anybody for bribery. I agree with Mr. Tao. We have an inherently corrupt system, but it's not because of the law. It's because of the way we're practicing it. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Great. Mr. Padmore, we are talking about lawlessness. I think you discuss it, we discuss it here from the get-go that the president, the big fish, the head of the fish, when the Supreme Court ruled and the president ignored the Supreme Court on the tenure position, when the president himself went on national TV and said, anyone before I take office, I'm going to declare my asset and publish, and everyone that works before me, before you get to your job, you will be vetted and you will declare your asset before. Before assuming office. So all of those rules were broken. Mr. Padmore, we have a case here from Kabina Jana. He is saying this is a supporter of this president that went to represent him everywhere during the campaign. He said here, to come out of show, this unfolding situation of lawlessness from the Solicitor General, the Inspector, the Police Inspector, and the Solicitor General. Its unfolding situation raises significant concern regarding the respect for judicial authority and the rule of law in our republic. Said this is endemic under this particular white guy government. Mr. Padmore, this is the president's legal advisor, legal authority that one side on the Supreme Court is saying this is unbelievable.
Well, I don't know if he's a legal advisor right now.
Well, everybody that were on the team, including John Molu, they all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping he's in a president year because he's always shown himself to be a man with some upright legal standing. But then again, I mean, what we've seen is that the president will do what the president will do. And we've seen that Joseph Walker is a very conniving old man. He has played this old man card for a long time. Oh, that just an easy old man, just easy going. We saw how he viciously came after Ellen. And even with that, people still try to give him the benefit of the doubt. But every single day, we learn more about Joseph Walker, the man. Not the old man, but Joseph Walker, the man. And, it's quite revealing. It's quite revealing, what he's capable of doing. Before I end, I just wanted to speak to Mr. Tao for a second here. Because I keep hearing him going after, the system. And I'm sorry, Mr. Tao, but if you took these people that we are looking at today, if you took them and put them in any other system, any system of your choosing, that system will be corrupt. It is not. I don't care what system has been. You can take them back to the village. The 73 people today, you take them back to the village and you put it in charge. The village will be corrupt. And so we have to stop this thing where, it's the system, it's the people, the corrupt people that you put in any system, they make it corrupt. This thing was developed for honorable men. That's why they refer to them as honorables. And an honorable man will take into account and say, no, I can't pay myself $10,000 because my country is poor. We saw honorable men before. Okay, we saw honorable men. The House of Representatives has not always dubiously paid themselves. They haven't done that. But it has been taken over by dishonorable people, and dishonorable people are manipulating the system. That's what's happening. And I just wanted to state that point. But when it comes down to Omen Boyka, we'll continue to see more of this. A lot of us stood up against Omen Boyka when he was chosen by the Liberian people. There was reasons why. Those reasons are coming to fruition. And we'll continue to say, to the people, say, we told you this is what was going to happen. And this is where we are right now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let me reintroduce our panelists here. Like I said, you can turn the TV off, go for 3, 4, 5 weeks or a month, come back, you will see the same faces here. We are not jumping from show to show. We are not doing those things. These guys are men who are stellar in their thinking, in their beliefs, in their defense of whatever they believe. If you left 5, 6 months ago and you came back, Mr. Padmore is still defending and still positioning himself and still forwarding those thoughts and ideology of the ANC. And he's still, why he said 7, 8, 9 months ago, he is saying it today. Those that were arguing with him and calling him names, they are no longer here because whatever they were selling, they cannot defend. Whatever they sold to you, when we were doing this show, we couldn't get enough people. I mean, you will see the whole screen full. They got, and I'm going to name some of them. Oh. My boy Maurice Croman, Mame, Alio Kamara, you name it, everywhere. even my own boy Josiah Joker, all of these people that were on here, why isn't he coming here on this particular show and on this show to tell us why he was selling? So I can tell him that payday loan in this country is illegal. What he trying to sell in Liberia, that payday loan is illegal. The Supreme Court said it was illegal in this country. Where are they now? Yes, I know sometimes you say we are here to bash the Unity Party. No, we are here to bash the bad policies of the Unity Party. If the Unity Party did something good, would you please come out here and let us know, because we can't read it, we can't see it. Let's go to our third part here before.
Can I just say something before we go to the third part? Because you're talking about go ahead. You're talking about consistency, but 2 weeks ago, Mr. Gay had ANC. Last week he was nationalist. Now this week he's ANC nationalist. So I just want to point that out, right? So I don't know where you'll be next week.
So it's simple. I'm an ANC, but the Constitution is above my party. Does that make sense now?
This man,
it doesn't, because last week you were nationalist and now you say ANC nationalist. So
in my passport, nationality Liberian. It didn't say ANC.
Listen.
So then maybe put Liberian there then instead of ANC nationalist.
I belong to a political party and I believe in nationalistic approach to my country.
Mr. Gay, this man and Joseph Boyka have a lot in common. Both They are Arsenal fan. Today
A
Arsenal
lot,
they
but he
do
does not
well.
want
They
to
all
come as
vest.
Mr.
So
Waka
don't
defender. So
mind
he
him.
comes in.
We have
I,
one thing. We have one thing in common, and that Arsenal support. They haven't showed that real Arsenal support is supporting.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Share the show. Is that Theodosia Hart? She's in the Landover, PA. Is that PA? Yeah, Lansdowne, PA. Never heard that name, but beautiful. I guess it's beautiful down there in Pennsylvania this time of the year where everything is turning. The leaves are turning. Beautiful. Mr. Padmo, let's start with you here. Oh no, Dr. Booty. Let's go to this $25 million. You see, this is the reason that these people are losing a lot of credibility. At first, they never told us that it was a loan. They said that based on their travels, they got scholarship for graduate students in STEM. We are finding it out that the whole thing was the Liberian man called VLA. It is a loan. From whom are they taking the loan? What are the percentages? What's the interest rate? The young men and women or men and women that are going to be on these scholarships, are they going to bear the brunt of it? Everything is in secrecy. There's accountability and rule of law. And this arrest, the arrest arrested me. I can't even move. I'm in a straight jacket. Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty, what is going on here? $25 million. STEM students will go abroad. Where are they going? When are they going? How long is it going to? When they come back, are they going to be employed? What has happened to all those that Ellie sent abroad? That Joe, we have sent 25 doctors to specialize. What happened to all of those folks? Talk to me.
Well, first of all, I don't think you've been arrested because you've been to Liberia recently and you came back. So if you were arrested, then you wouldn't be on this show. Your partner would have had to be leading the show with Mr. Eastman. So clearly,
next Sunday, Mr. Pat going to be leading the show.
No, but I think, look, I get what you're saying. I think we're all baffled at the amount of, because again, what we were sold during the election was that, look, this person has 45 years of experience. I think 45 or 46, I don't know, but 40 something years of experience, right? That this person was going to come in, hit the ground running, and this guy was going to change the lot of the Liberian people. That automatically things were just going to shift around, and we were all going to be so proud of Liberia, like, wow. And we're 10, 11 months in, and some of us, we already in get our head and falling out already. We're scratching it. The hair that we could have scratched, nothing there to scratch no more. Because it does not make sense that you will spend $25 million to train 250 STEM students and then bring them back to Liberia to do a STEM job, right? What are the science, technology, and the E and the M? I forgot what the E and the M stand for. But where are the jobs?
Engineering, mathematics.
Exactly. Where are the jobs that we have for these people to come back to? Why? Because normally, again, and I know Mr. Gaiman, you own a company. I know Mr. Fatmo as well does that, and I think Mr. Tao as well. Normally, when you're recruiting staff, is to fill a position of need, right? If you need an administrator, you advertise for an administrator, or maybe you train someone within your institution to become an administrator. You don't go, you need administrator, then you start training somebody to be director. What a director job you get to go train the person to bring. We don't have jobs in Liberia for STEM students, STEM professionals, right? Why are we, look, Liberia need medical doctors. We need people who can help us develop crops that can grow fast so that we can get more food in our country. We need people who can help us build better roads to stand the rainy season and stuff like that. And you cannot tell me, yes, they can say, okay, but the engineers. Look, Liberia has enough educated people. We have enough. I got friends of mine. There's a guy I know who was just here a couple of years ago on achieving a scholarship, on a UK government scholarship. He's an architect and an engineer in Liberia, there, in the private sector. He probably went in support of CDC, so maybe that's why he can't get a job. But the fact is, there are individuals, young Liberian women and men, who are educated already. They didn't get a job. And he said, okay, we'll send another 250 to go learn STEM profession so they can come and sit down and be looking at y'all waiting for job as well. It doesn't make sense. For me, I'm gonna leave others to deal with the lie. You know, the lie was that, oh, these things were scholarship, and now we know that we're taking a loan, right? So I'll let other people deal with that. But it just does not make sense that you're trying to recruit to educate people in sectors that we don't have a thriving sector to absorb these people. So you're just going to waste 25 million, you educate them, and all of these people will then leave Liberia and go overseas to work.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Great. Mr. Gay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Eastman. Then
Yes.
then Mr. Gay. Here we are. Under the former president, where he sent 25 Liberian doctors for specialization.
Yeah.
What has happened to these folks? We also heard that there were 250 young men and women that were trained by the American Police Academy in Liberia. And then when the president came, he says all of those people that graduated, they were sedition trained police, and he had no confidence in them, so they would not be absorbed into the police force. The 25 doctors that went away, that came back, all of these folks that were trained Liberian money. What's going on with this country that when someone comes in, they trash everything else that the previous administration have done?
You know, Michelle Obama said one thing in 2020. She said the presidency doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. And this is what we're going to see. The experience and all of that was purportedly brought to the Liberian people, we're about to see what that experience really is. Because it's one thing when you're sitting down as one of the lieutenants somewhere and keeping quiet, but when you come to the forefront, that everything you do is under a magnifying glass, it becomes a little bit different. And it's for me, it's already blaring that Liberia needs rebuilding now. We're supposed to be taking foundational steps to rebuild Liberia so that the next generation will be progressive. They will be able to continue. But you don't see that. There is absolutely no reason for us to jump to send people to I don't know how many million. There's no reason. Why wouldn't we first restore the institutions that are already in Liberia? Wouldn't that have a more impactful result? By you sending
Mr. Eastman, not to cut you off, but Joseph Waka just did that. He just instituted a PhD program.
This is what I'm saying. It's all frivolous. It's not substantial. There's no foundation. And this is what's been going on all along. He's managed to, he was in different places, agriculture, LPMC. But what was the thing that was established? Now we're going to see. Now, we got PhD program coming out. We got people going. These things are not substantial to build on. They look attractive, but they're superfluous.
Thank you.
So I think we're going to have to take a hard stand and start doing the fundamental things that will build Liberia. But it requires leadership. And
Thank
if
you.
the leadership not on board is made difficult.
Thank you. Mr. Tao, here we are. One of the things that is glaring, some people are suggesting that this is just a scheme to move a big sum of money abroad to some account and say that money is being going to some STEM program so that people can go there, justification. I'm looking at when we're talking about what Mr. Eastman talked about building on what we have invested in. Someone, there were photos floating around social media. The new, it's not an invincible park, but the new park that was just built, the multi-million-dollar park that was just built. Is that I think a PHP, eh?
PHP Park, yeah.
They are
By the
showing
ocean front.
photos. They are showing photos. If it's true, that basically it has become, the government has abandoned it. Nobody cares about it, and they bring back to this thing was people were praising, and when Joseph Walker was running for office in that park, we would eat downplaying the significance of the park. But recently, when they were having their religious festivals back there, one of the muftis said it. He said, 2016, 2017, I was here. I came back today and I seen new roads. I seen parks and recreation. I seen new buildings. I seen these are development, these are stepping stones that you need to keep. Don't destroy it. This is development. We are moving ahead. And then you look around the park, the man was just praising. People have deliberately begun to desecrate the park and make it look bad, Mr. Tawo. Why are we like this?
So in the first place, I come from that background. I took part in many STEM programs. I researched with many professors and scientists from Argonne National Lab to J Lab, in Virginia to the material science. In Alabama, I did a tooling. I worked in that, and when I was in my sophomore year, I worked with about almost 10 different professors, and we developed a STEM program where I was part of that grant stuff. I was like the only student that was in there. And the reason I'm making reference to this to come and address that whole 25 million stuff. And this was at this university. And it was under Bush that they were doing the STEM program for a lot of the HBCUs. And what was that grant? That grant was like a $5 million, at least beginning. And that went a long way. So actually, we developed different research capabilities and all of that stuff in that physics and engineering department, right? $25 million. I'm not going to address the part where it's like the steps, like Mr. Eastman said, I need to be taken first before you can even try to look in those directions, right? The reason for which the parks and stuff are failing. People cannot have recreation if you don't organize them and you don't give them the ability for them to be able to survive. So you build how many parks? They're going to go to waste. You do anything, you even build STEM programs, it's going to go to waste. So you didn't build the foundation, right? But with that program lasted until, then the funding kept coming in. With 25 million, let's just say Liberia at the level where you can actually develop a good STEM program in Liberia. You can create with 10 million also, you can create a very good facility, and you have that, the rest of the money, and then you can start to fund over time. But the point here is they intend to steal. They intend on stealing. They're borrowing, they're looking for ways. So why aren't you putting this through the education budget and you have a whole program in the education system that then this stuff channel through? But you see, they're trying to grab it off the top. And this is what we are seeing here. But look, so this right here is we're going to talk about this from now to Judgment Day for those who believe in Judgment Day. The point here is that I want to say something. It is the system. The system is inherently corrupt. My brother Patmo pointed something out. You see, our problem here in Liberia or in Africa is that we have been so de-Africanized that we don't even understand our own culture. Yes, those 200 people you send into the village, they will reject them because the means by which the system recruit people is a corrupt means. The way by which your cultural or institutions or bring people in, the cultivate them through a different means. In this political system, popularity, deceit, wild promises called campaign promises. You see how they select these people? So it attracts criminals. It attracts clowns. That is what you are seeing. What you're seeing, you're watching a separate of clown shows going on. These guys are clowns. They are criminal. They are clowns that are criminals. While they're performing for you, they're stealing from you. And you are looking, oh, look at the one Tate picking, and they're stealing. So it is the system. The system does not cultivate you based on moral, based on achievement, based on anything like ethics, value, none of that. It doesn't. Gentlemen, we must question the system. Go and look. It's not that, because each time we say what is said about our own culture that we push against so much. And then each time this come up, they want to point at something that the government worked. At one point, the government never really worked. You say at one point, they called them honorable. Nobody's called honorable when you set up a system where 4% of the people dominate 96% of the people for over 100 years. You want to keep making this claim. Let us get away from that. Let us admit that that was false. You cannot build something where there are people that are honorable when you bring in a foreign system and you say this is democracy that is supposed to be, everybody is supposed to reflect the value of the nation, but it's a foreign system that have the value of a foreign country, and you exclude the rest of the. So what happened? We are continuing the same thing. Look at China. Look at all of these people that are rising. What did they do? They were dominated too. But when Mao then, when people like Communion, when they took over, they dismantled that system because they knew. Even in America, the very America you are in, when the Boston Tea Party, when they did the revolt, what did they do? They abandoned the British system and they set up their own. They set up one that they designed based on their own value that will work for them. The problem with Africa is that we didn't gain independence. You just came in and you took the same system that you fought against that was unjust. And then you sat in there and you tried to make the same rules that were never meant to work in your interest, but in the interest, you try to work within the same framework. The system must be dismantled.
Thank you.
Mr. Pat, can I have 10 seconds here? Because
yes,
every
ahead,
time we come here, you say that the system doesn't work. We all push back to say, no, it's not the system, it's the individuals. What other system do you think we could adopt in Liberia? Because when you talk about the rural, when you talk about what we had before our American Liberian brothers came down, we had monarchies, right, where one family would just dominate from town to town, from town. You're saying that that's a better
that
system?
is not true. That is not true.
What
You
is
don't even understand your own culture.
And basically, it was through conquest that we adopted more
that is
people
not true.
into our.
Hey, I been
true.
to the village, and the way they do things in the village is very corrupt. You can't
That
push
is
out
not
here.
true.
Listen, Mr. Booty. Before I go to Mr. Padmo here, let me start with Mr. Taiwo here a little bit. So why is it that corrupt people like me, you, everybody else, because we agree now, they said we are corrupt. How come when we come to a system like that, we are not corrupt?
Because the system works.
Can you be
hold you accountable?
Because they check and balances. Mr. Gabe, hold on. And I mean, ask the question, Mr. ANC Nationalist.
That was an open question.
Mr. ANC Nationalist, hold your hat. Listen, Mr. Gaiman, the reason why, right? Because you have, let me just give you an example. You had your former president Donald Trump when he came to power. There are a lot of things President Trump wanted to do. Even Bill Barr, who bent over. There's a point where everybody like, no, they think about Bentu and I will check out the whole country. There is a sense of nationalism in some Americans that when they're in these positions of authority, yes, some of them will try to corrupt it, but it gets to a point that some of them will say, no, if we let it bend any further than it's bent, it will damage and we will all suffer. Liberians, unfortunately, the ones that we have in leadership, look, there were times in Liberia, whether we want to accept it or not, when men who were leaders were leaders. Again, I'm not saying that they were fair in the way that they distributed wealth, but they were leaders. They would stand up and you could say, yes, this person is a leader. The beginning then we get around this time, I ain't sure about some of them. Because you cannot, right? You cannot say you are a representative of 10,000, 15,000, 25,000 people. They send you to this place to go and advocate on their behalf because all 25,000 of them can go into the legislature. So go speak for all. Then you go speak for them. You're there running behind 15,000 or 20,000, how much ever they bribe it because you want to speak up in it. That is a corrupt individual. That's not the system. There is nothing in our law that say the legislators who are acting the way that they are acting now should act that way. There's nothing in our constitution. There's nothing in our system of government that say that those 40, whatever, the way they're acting, that's how they should act. Nothing in our system of government. Our system of government says you 73 set your own rules and then abide by that rule. You set the rule from the start. And then halfway through, because the men are in the thing, you let it and you want chocolate, everything, but not following them. Then you say, oh, that is system. How the system? System can talk. That human being can talk. System can move. That human being can move. So how is the system?
Mr.
Yeah, but let Mr. Tao come. But Mr. Tao, one thing before you kind of don't add it. I grew up different places in Africa. I saw the tradition. I lived in Ethiopia for years, speak the language and everything. So I've seen old African systems. I want to know which system you recommending here.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for asking the question for us.
That is a question that is valid for us as Africans, but that should not even be the question.
And not for us, for you. Your one will answer that question that you want that question for, not for us.
Okay, listen.
Mr. Tao, don't listen to the guy. Go ahead.
Wait. I spent years on this stuff, so listen. The way in which you start to solve a problem and get yourself out of a hole is to first recognize that you are standing in a hole. So where I'm trying to get us to arrive at is that this system doesn't work. It was never intended to work. If we can see the failure in the structure of the system, in the design, then if we reach that, if we say, yes, you know what? Yes, we see it. Then now we can start to brainstorm. But if people are defending, and you know what? The so-called educated Africans, this is the problem. Because we pen our values and our self-worth on these systems, our degrees that are given us that mere indoctrinations and lies. I went to college. All of you went to college. Look at what you learn in school. A lot of lies. A lot of theories. Theories are lies. Theories are not truth. Theories are just suggestions.
But they're not lies.
Mr. Tower, so we don't have all of the time. If you don't mind, just lay out for us in the plan you think that will work.
Okay, look here. Let me say this before so I can close. If you understood your own culture and your own tradition as African, go back and look. You see, you are trying to look at just the Bassa or just the Gola, just the day, and just this. No. Look at Africa in antiquity. Read the work of Dr. Diop and other people and see you once ruled the world. You from Liberia, go and read the work of Bloody. You once ruled the world. You have a whole system by which you govern. You have been told that don't look at that because you see you draw from the past for you to be able to look at and guide yourself. They say don't look at that. Each time you want to do anything else that is outside of the Western imposed structure, they come in, they overthrow you, they beat you on the head with a gun. They say, no, this is what we want you to do. This is a dictatorship. Nobody, you that here sitting over there, Mr. Gay, if I come right now and say, you know what? I care about your children and your wife so much than you. So from today's day onward, you sleep in the living room. And when they cook, you eat on the push. And I'm the one going to sleep in the room with your wife. You tell me I'm crazy. This is simply somebody that is from way Europe or from China or from Asia is telling you what you should do and what type of practice you should have in your own country. That alone should light something in your head. And these are the same people that have dominated.
Mr. Pablo, what happened to our time?
No, we gotta get it mentioned.
You gotta get it mentioned.
The next conclusion, the then I politician conclusion, Mr. Pablo, all kind of my role. Mr. Pablo, that's what about the time. The next conclusion, he answered no question. He just go on
Another employee just show up for work. Oh,
Mr.
another
Gibbons,
employee just show up from work.
And according to Mr. Tower, that is system may show up little. That is system may show up little. Not himself.
But
That is
Mr.
system.
Gibbons,
I
I have
want
not
to ask
spoken.
something.
No, just
Mr.
letting you
Powell,
know.
I actually studied this thing way back. And I know Africans have a communal way of living. In other words, nobody owns lands and nobody sells lands.
Correct.
That's not a part of it. The whole tribe, the whole people own the land. That is how Africans used to live. It's a socialism. Okay, it's called communalism. Way before Marx, Lenin, and all that started, Africans already were living like that.
Borrow all the stuff.
However, that was at one epoch, one time. But today, with the modernization of the world, the globalization of the world, what system will you apply? You see, it's one thing that it may work in an isolated situation or at a certain period of time. But as the world evolves, you have to come up with new things that will work. That's why we're asking you, what system can you reference that is working? Just one.
Mr. Eastman,
Many systems are working.
One. I asked you for one.
Yeah. No. Look at what happened. There is no one system. Even if there is no one system. Because if you look at, you're saying a way back,
Mr.
see,
Tower,
we have
now
the
you want to be a
concept
politician.
that African
Now you want to be a
culture
politician.
I think we need to make progress. But I have not
No, it's
spoken,
not.
Mr. Gibbons. So
It
just
is something that is always evolving. We
I
can
think
look at it
let's
and
leave this
usher it into-
ANC nationalism
Okay,
and Mr.
gentlemen,
Tower
we
and
got-
move to the next topic.
today.
We got
Right?
we got
It is the
we got
future
Man, I hear
also.
man talking on that.
Mr. Tower, thank you. Listen, we got 31 minutes to go here. Now,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have not spoken, Mr. Gibbons.
I'm coming to you. Then I go to.
Okay.
I get Mr. Namo be a spectator.
No, please, put my name. Let my name.
That is system may
You
live.
know, I never got a link, so I thought I was giving time off to watch my Eagles. I just got a link.
You guys are doing good. You're doing 7-0 so far. I'm watching it in my office. And listen, I grew up in the interior. Most of you grew up in the interior. Even if you didn't grow up in the interior as I
went
did.
there too. My parents took me there.
Listen, if you grew up, let's say Crusoeville, away from downtown Monrovia, you grew up in the
The only
interior.
place you
The only way you go across the river.
Listen, now, if you grew up in Mount Bagley and you didn't grow up downtown Monrovia, you grew up in the interior. Because Mr. Padmo or Jimmy will tell you, well, Monrovia, brother, man, where you from? You say, I'm from Brewville. Oh, man, I'm country boy. You know, because you're from outside, outside the capital. What I'm saying here, listen, this is what I've studied. Inequality and social stratification. Okay? And I've studied why nations fail. Mr. Taiwo, as much as I like your concept, it is when the whole world population, the entire world population was like maybe 700,000 people, it was easier for you to sit there and say, I can control these folks. Where I was born, in my own town, where my father was the chief, we were 9 people in the whole town. My father was king. I went back there in March and we got almost 50 children just running all over the place. It's a whole different concept. They are now calling about they want build school, they want clinic, they want this. It's not that thing that my father, just go do pound wine and say, no, these boys, they want that thing going. So the world has expanded. The system that we use to keep 5 people in place, you can't use it to keep 10 billion people in place. Mr. Anthony Gay, your turn.
Yeah, so we're speaking on this $25 million loan thing, right? And before the system business came about. Look,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbon, Trouble tried, Doe tried, Ellen tried, we did it. It never succeeded. We need to take a cue out of the book of Japan and Singapore and other countries who then invested in institutions in their own country and turned things around. Our problem today, for instance, ArcelorMittal Steel is taking the raw iron ore out of Liberia. If we can only put one manufacturer plant, now manufacture metal sheets,
we do.
steel rods, metal beams, it will not only create jobs, it will also add equity on our royalty from the company. That's one aspect. If we invest into education, today we have a technological economy. There's no entity that can function without technology. If we invest in electricity, reliable source of power, we invest in innovation and technology, where all the factories that manufacture shoes into manufacturing, Nike spend $15 to manufacture one Nike sneaker in the United States. That same model of Nike sneaker can be manufactured in China, Taiwan, and Vietnam for $1.50. That very Nike sneaker can be manufactured today in Liberia for 25 cents. Think about this picture. If you were to pay one person in Liberia $5 US per hour and they work 8-hour shift, they are just made $40 US a day. Multiply them 5 days a week and 4 weeks in a month.
Yeah.
Do you see the economic impact, immediate economic impact of that mindset? But it needs the government intervention where we have reliable source of power. First and foremost.
2 minutes.
2 minutes up. Mr. Namwe, you just coming here. We're gonna give you 30 seconds because you live.
Yeah, man, 2 minutes, man.
Gotta punish you. You know? Mr. Namwe, we are talking about this thing that at first it was reported at $25 million for STEM student. We find out now that the government actually took a loan to send people quote unquote STEM program, graduate program. And we didn't find out that it was a loan. It was being sold as one of the largesse that came back from the trips and all of that. Only now somebody blew the whistle that it's going to be a $25 million loan. To whom do we owe the $25 million? Who's going to repay it? What the terms of reference? What the interest rate? And some people are accusing the government that this is a money laundering. They're about to move $25 million across the ocean under the pretext that this is a scholarship, when actually nobody going to hear about this anymore. Your take on this?
Well, thank you very much, and it is good to be joining you guys. Again, I got a link late, but I've been following you guys. I want to agree with Mr. Tower, but I don't like his input to this, so I would not agree with him. I will agree with Mr. Padmore. I think this money could really do a lot of good if, first of all, I don't know if it is a loan, because we discussed this on Friday, and these are some of the questions we were asking. What exactly is this? So hopefully more clarity will come. But if it is money that is coming into Liberia, I think it could do a lot of good in the economy. I don't understand why the 250 people are being sent here to the States. $25 million could do a lot of good in our economy. A lot of people could benefit. The students will benefit. The trainers will benefit. The suppliers, a lot of, spillover effects, secondary, tertiary, a lot of people will benefit. Now, having said that, I agree with Mr. Tao and Mr. Padmore that where is the infrastructure to accommodate these people? I think Dr. Booty also mentioned that. When we train these 250 people, what exactly are we training them to do in Liberia? As opposed to if we were to build the infrastructure, and I think $25 million can do all of this, it can build the infrastructure and train the people and absorb all of that into the market. So that is also concerning. During the launch of the program, we were also observing that, the Ministry of Education seemed to have been absent in the whole rollout. This is the sector, the leader in this sector who is supposed to do the training, the processing, and all of this, but instead I think it's being done through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So lots of questions. Hopefully, our policymakers are listening to some of the commentaries that have been provided on the FOI and other, outlets, and try to tweak this thing so that we will hopefully eventually benefit. It shouldn't be a loss at the end of the day. Let this be something that will benefit the system, benefit Liberia. Before I learn, let me tell Mr. Tower, because I'm a product of protests. In a democracy, you register your dissent, your discontent by protest. And I'll actually encourage our people, they need to really rise up now. I think there's a lot that is going on in the country unchecked. People need to rise up, occupy the Capitol building, do whatever you may, and let the government know that you're not happy with some of the stuff that's going on. 43 people sitting now over there, who's paying them? There is a process that is prescribed for the removal of the speaker. They know that. Why are they sitting at the hotel there, and carrying on with all this? And then the executive mansion is legitimizing all of this, and writing to the clerk and all of that. Kofa is a lawyer. I hope you will sue them to put them back on track. I'm not for Kofa. I don't care about Kofa. I care about the process. Let the people follow what is prescribed by the Constitution. And if you have to remove the speaker, do it legally. Thank you very much.
Mr. Padmore.
UPP. Yes.
Mr. Padmore.
It's the other way.
Mr. Padmore, here we are. We say Joseph Boycott loves to operate in chaos. How do you move $25 million? How do you run government when the particular house that's supposed to run the budget, that's supposed to approve the budget, that's supposed to scrutinize the budget, is in total chaos? And the president is basically fueling the division. Why we at it? They are talking about moving $25 million. Mr. Padmore, I am perplexed. It's your turn.
So this is what I mean. Look, we elected an old man. Okay, even the Bible says, that the young people will have visions. The old people will have dreams. When Joseph Boyka was a young man, they had a Tottenham scholarship. Most of the people, our old leaders you see today, that's how they were educated. Even the progressives that we talk about, that's how they were educated. They won Tottenham scholarship in America. That was the way at that time. We're talking about 50 years ago, 60 years ago. There was no infrastructure in Liberia. There was a small population, so that it made sense then. Let's educate a breed of people. We'll bring them back to the country and we'll let them become the educators. Then they will educate the masses. There's nothing new today that Joseph Boyka is bringing us. It's the same thing. Even though the world has changed, totally changed. The world has become a global village. Who's sending anybody anywhere anymore? Okay, we have the internet. Well, people a long time ago, if you wanted to go to Harvard University, you had to pick up and move to Massachusetts. People don't do that anymore. They get online, they register for the master courses, they do their courses online, they get there, they get educated, they get a degree. Nobody has to get up. It's only this old archaic thinking that we keep getting from our president. Let's do this and let's do that. And when you think about it, it goes back 50 years. He's bringing nothing new. But then again, what do we expect from this old man? Okay? Joseph Boyka survived the Turbo years. He survived the Doe years. He survived the Taylor years. He survived the Ellen years. Now think about it. Through all that chaos, he survived. This is what he knows. This is what Joseph Boyka knows. He knows nothing else. And so this is what we are getting from him. This is what we are getting from him. Be quiet. Be behind the scenes. Be pushing the pawns. Because somebody has, told him when Tubman was president, Tubman had influence in all three branches. When Doe was president, if you're not for NDPL, you need a job. NDPL had, influence in all three branches. So this is what Joseph Boyka knows. So Joseph Boyka is starting to believe that I need to control everywhere. And the way how I do it is I will take down people, the the wrong way, and I will insert my own people, and go forward. And that's what we are getting. That's what we're for that woman, and that's what we'll continue to get. As far as I'm concerned, people say I'm pessimistic, but that's what I believe we're going to continue to get, because he knows nothing else, And at some point in time, right, I would join Mr. Nangme, and I never thought I would be able to say this, but I would join the progressives in saying the Liberian people need to stand up. The Liberian people need to stand up. June 7, 10,000 people got in the street, and it was significant. This time, 20 people need to get in the street. They don't need to be destructive. They don't need to be chaotic. They don't need to be violent. They need to get in the street and show Joseph Boyka, show their leaders that, look, we are the people. We have the power, and we are saying we are not satisfied. You'll see how things will change. Those 43 people, those 73 people, they exist because of those people. If those people get in the street and threaten their existence and threaten their positions and say, look, we can move you. We can devise the plan. And that's what I love about this system. Because if this system works, everybody benefits.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for
And we are
tuning in
gear up,
to the
Mr.
show.
Pablo.
Come on.
Tuesday,
I'm coming. We're going to the final point of our show today. But I want you to look at this book. I want to recommend this. Why Nations Fail. And it's by a brilliant young man by the name of Darren Acemoglu. When you look at this, and one of the main reasons he says, any economy that is built on extraction,
Of course.
is bound to fail. And he listed any country that has everything on concession agreement and extraction. Natural digging of gold and diamond iron ore, you're wasting your time. Now let's go to the final topic here, and I will start with our diplomat, Mr. Jimmy Eastman from the nation's capital.
Mm-hmm.
We just had an election, and the power brokers in these United States says that the polls have shown that the MAGA, we who were trying to make America great again, we stood no chance. The liberals had the CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, you name it. They said it was going to be a landslide.
Nobody said that.
Yeah, let me
At the
chime in.
end, they kept saying
Never
it
said
is
that.
close. It is too close to call. It is too close. And the folks on the right said it would not even be close. And the American people stood up and say, we want our country back. We want it exactly where we want it to be. We have spoken. Now tell me, Mr. Washington, D.C. insider, what does that mean to Liberia, for Liberians, those in and out of the country, the diaspora? What does this say about our state of being?
Oh, wonderful question. Wonderful question.
I didn't ask that question, Mr. Padmore.
Yeah.
I told you to ask that question.
First of all, there were a lot of sentiments that were supporting Harris, but I don't think they were very practical. And I say they were sentimental. Okay, they wanted rights for women. Oh, she's from the Black race and Indian race. Somebody came up from the bottom and rose to the top. All those things are sentimental. If anyone realized the issue at heart was a couple of issues. Number one, was economics.
Yep.
Everything is more expensive right now in America since COVID, and people feel in their pocket. It's very difficult for any incumbent party to win when things economically are not well. So they had that against them. Okay. And then at the last minute of the time, 100 days before the election, before Joe Biden decides to remove himself, you don't have very much time to gain momentum. That should have been done much earlier. And so there were so many things against the success of this of the movement, but they were wishful thinking, you know. And Trump made way with many more groups, okay, demographics. He did better with women. He did better with young black men. He did better with, of course, white men.
Mr. Ismail, I will not let you off the hook. What does it mean for Liberia and Joseph Barker administration in particular?
For Liberia,
on their own.
And Joseph Barker administration,
in particular, yeah.
In particular, Trump for his last administration, he didn't show much regard for African nations, or should I use his word?
No, not use his words, please.
S-whole nations. He didn't have much regard. I think the only way you can talk to Mr. Trump is if you bringing something to the table. If you got nothing bringing your empty hands, he ain't got time for it. Even Puerto Rico, who's part of the USA, the man doesn't even, they had a storm that he didn't want to give relief money. So I don't, maybe some people in Congress, you'll walk around, but I don't see Liberia gaining very much. In fact, he promised to send a whole lot of illegals home. And you know, Liberia's got a lot of people here undocumented. So Liberia need to get ready for her children to come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you live in Minnesota, you live in Iowa, and you're wilding out, watch out. Dr. Booty, let me get an international perspective. You are on the other side. Do you have a Labour Party, or you got a Conservative Party now?
We've got a Labour Party.
Huh?
We've got a Labour Party at the moment.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So far you're supposed to be Labour. You got a Labour people back there. How are they feeling this new wave that is coming? This red wave that's coming? What is your take? And have they actually adjusted to this thing?
Well, I think first of all, I just want to echo quickly before you interrupt me what Mr. Ethan was saying. I think the economy was definitely the issue. 67% of Americans said that was their main thing, and Trump won those by about 70%. So clearly, Harris missed, and also young men, a lot of young men who are not listened to. And it's the same. Look, in the UK, the Conservatives came to power in 2010. So the Conservatives are like the Republican Party, and the Labour Party is like the Democrats. And they were in power for 14 years. And there was a lot of austerity, a lot of economic hardship for ordinary people. Young people are struggling in the UK to be able to afford to buy homes, similar to the US. Young people are struggling, especially young men, struggling to get a foot on the ladder of economic prosperity, similar to the US. So in July, when we had the elections, young people decided that, look, we need a change, because the Conservatives are protecting the pensioners, because they have all of these wealth funds and all that kind of stuff, and we can't even afford to rent properties. So obviously you guys went one way and we went the other way. We went to the left and you went to the right in terms of a response to the economic hardship. I think as it relates to the relationship, before the election, President-elect Trump accused our Prime Minister and the Labour Party of interfering in US politics. I'm not sure. I think one of our Labour Party executives made a comment about preference of who he or she wanted to win the elections. And the Trump camp took that as Britain meddling. So the relationship is going to be very frosty in terms of him. And even though the Prime Minister has spoken to him, our Foreign Secretary, who is black, like our Secretary of State, Joseph Lamy, had said some horrible things about Trump in the past. So he had to try and get.
Is he Indian? You say black or Indian?
No, the black guy.
No, he's black. Our Foreign Secretary is black. Yeah. His name is Joseph Lamy. Yeah.
Oh, the
So
prime minister is Indian.
Yeah,
no,
there
the
was a
prime minister
prime
is white.
minister.
No, the foreign secretary.
No, the prime minister before, the one before, the last conservative
Was
guy.
Asian. Yeah, it was Asian. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Asian. It was from
Asian
Indian
descent.
descent. But in terms of, I know my time is over. Just 10 seconds quickly. I think in terms of Liberia, I don't know is the way I'll put it. Previously, President Trump didn't show much appetite for supporting Africa and African interest, and I don't think anything's going to change. I think if he starts to abandon countries like Ukraine and think, then you should think about the worst when it comes to Africa and Liberia. In terms of deportation, let's not forget that President Obama deported more people than Donald Trump. Donald Trump never reached the Obama numbers. And I was reading something this morning because I've been arguing with some of my family members in the US who were angry about the Trump win, even though I don't support Donald Trump. But basically, Biden, I think earlier this year, was already on track to surpass Donald Trump as well. So both Democrats would, by the time Biden leave office, have deported more people than Donald Trump. And everybody's like, oh, Trump coming to deport
Those are
everybody.
false numbers.
No, they're not false. The numbers don't lie. That's one
No,
thing.
Those
Numbers-
people are criminals, man. They're not.
You
They're
are
not
looking at
My brother, is they removing people. That's the numbers. Is the numbers. You can't
Okay.
say the numbers are
All
lying.
right, my time will come.
Okay, guys, we got 45 minutes. Thank you very much. Mr. Let me go to Mr. Victor Nambi Tawo, then Gay, and then we'll go to closing and go around. Mr. Nambi, here we are. The opposition during the Weir administration, they had a lot of inroad in the Biden administration, and they were able to get some things going as far as sanctions and all of these things are concerned. How this time around, how would they help us? Could we use Mr. Musk and his Starlink? Do we have that kind of sway to say, we can use that as an inroad?
Yeah, I'm really confused as to the question. But in terms of inroads into this incoming government, I think Jimmy made some good points there. One, the incoming president during his last term demonstrated a lot of antipathy towards the continent. I think Dr. Booty is also right. A lot of people here believe that this guy will work the magic with the economy, and it's just that they're not looking at the numbers. When he was there, he didn't do very much, even though he had to deal with COVID and all of that. But he believes in tariffs, and whenever you impose tariffs, all the economies are almost in agreement. Those are passed on to the ordinary people. So I think we're in for a very long haul. Now, as to how this will impact Liberia in terms of sanctions, I don't give.
No, not just sanctions. How would it impact Liberia? Period.
I think we're in for a very difficult next 2 years. Hopefully, there will be a correction during the midterm, because even the president here in the White House, he takes his directions from the Congress. So we're hoping for a correction during the midterm election, so that the Democrats will also assert themselves. Because that's how the balance of power here is plays. Usually the White House, is balanced out by the Congress. But right now, for the next 2 years, I think we're in a very difficult period. This guy has demonstrated to be inward looking. Someone mentioned even Puerto Rico. We all know what happened to Puerto Rico during the storm that they suffered. We know what happened. He doesn't believe in NATO. He bashed them. He demeaned the whole organization. So he's not an internationalist. And so if he does not respect NATO, I doubt if he hasn't respect for Africa. He has even made that clear in his utterances. So I think we're in for a long haul. I have to quickly say, I don't know what most of our people in Liberia, maybe not most, but I've seen some of our compatriots, gleefully celebrating Trump's election. I think they may not understand what is happening here. He is going to make it difficult for all of us. And when we are suffering, they're back home are also going to suffer, because the remittances are going to dry up. I hope they are making the connection. Because if I'm broke here and I can't pay my bills, I can't send you the $5 by Sandwave. I hope they understand that.
But Mr. Number, what will make you broke here?
Because
Broke here.
because all of the services here that help you and I get ahead, he's going to tighten the screws.
Yes.
Some of us here we're not citizens. Some of us are on green cards. Some of us may be deported. Some of us who are citizens here, there are lots of different ways they're going to squeeze us. The economy is not going to be as flourish. It's not going to flourish as much as many of us think it will be. And when that happens, we have to tighten our belts. The cash flow is not going to be as abundant as many people, as you the mega people are predicting, because he's going to import tariffs and prices here are going to rise. He did that during his last term. We all suffer the consequences. Right now, gasoline is at almost an all-time low. I mean, you can get a gasoline for $2.87 now for a regular. I'm sure that's not going to maintain when he
Okay,
takes
guys, we got
so
10
it
minutes.
is going to be tough. The tough days ahead.
We got 10 minutes. So
Jimmy is a business owner, so that's why he's
we're
doing
gonna
it
do
like that.
one. I am telling you, as a Republican, the first thing after the election, when I look on Wall Street, my Bitcoin investment, zoom.
That's the thing.
Let's
Like
see how
President
Joe
Blanca,
stays
he just show a hand, Jenna. He not show a hand too.
So
Exactly.
those of you, President Waka in the third world country that will be coming out of bed will tell you, go back to your asshole country, spend your money in your country so your people can stay. Your people stay in your country, invest your money. Don't steal the money and bring it here. We don't need your money. Mr. Dr. Booty, I know you gotta go. Your 1 minute closing.
Oh, but Dr. We may.
Oh no, I think Mr. Tao and Mr. Gay
I'm not
haven't
spoken
gone
on
yet.
this.
Well, listen now, we say a closing because we got only 10 minutes.
But I
Now.
didn't
We
even
give everybody 1 minute.
Yeah, but we didn't even speak on the.
Wait, are we beginning
Use
to
your
close
1
now, or
minute.
you're
Start a little late.
We got 1 minute each to close and talk about your
All right,
issue. Let's
let me
go.
get go one time before the man go. Let me go. Let me
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, Trump win for America. It paint a dark picture. Let me just say this very clearly. He has control of the Supreme Court. He has control of the White House. He has control of the Senate. He may probably have control of the House of Representatives. And if he does, that's too much power in one man's hand. Very dangerous. The economy was good under Trump first 2 years because of what Obama left in place. After that, it dried out. And he blamed it on COVID. Right now, the American government cannot afford stimulus. It will bankrupt this country. So stimulus will not be rolled out. You will have a dry economy to turn things around. And let's see how it's going to go. For those of you that are celebrating Trump, the federal judge appointed by Trump have just struck down the program for undocumented that got married to U.S. citizens to gain paper. The federal judge appointed by Trump already struck down that policy and said it is unconstitutional. You know what's going to happen? They're going to go to the Supreme Court, and Trump people going to win because they have 6 Supreme Court justices against 3.
Your time.
So many people in this country who were hoping for their life to turn around because they got married to a U.S. citizen while they were undocumented, they will get overturned. Immigration that used to take 6 months to a year, it's taking 2 years to 4 years now because Trump let go a lot of the immigration professionals that used to do the work. He's coming back now with huge deportation. As for the Liberian government, how you going to succeed with Trump? Just forget it. One good thing for you, though, there is $38 million already signed grant by the Biden administration for connectivity, broadband connectivity to Liberia. Go on warehouse.com, go to Africa and select Liberia. You will see that $38 million there for Liberia. You may hurry up and get it. If you can't get it, Trump will struck it down because Trump said the DV program is illegal. We should not bring Africans to America with DV program. He doesn't like it. You're going to struck it down again.
Listen, young man, don't take 25% stolen up the top. Let's go, Mr. Booty. I mean, excuse me, Mr. Tower.
Yeah. Okay. So look.
No 25% off the top.
Yeah, I don't know what this stuff about. It doesn't matter. As for me, I live here and I make the declaration. I have no emotional ties or connection to the United States or their internal system. The system is set to dominate Africa. It doesn't matter who is in power. The presidency in America, unless people are not paying attention, is the weakest. It's weak. The people that run the government don't get elected in and out of office. That is the reality. Unless you're not following, you don't know. So he comes there, he's a ceremonial head. But look, the system is rigged. I know it because I use it. Who said that? Trump. And he was not lying. The system is rigged. What did Trump do? They're talking about like prices got high. Tariff is meant to put money in the pocket of big businesses. The tariff that they were doing in China, who was it for? It was American businesses that doing business there. So after they messed the country, they lying to the American people that it's Chinese. No, it's Google, Apple, all these people. So you just give Apple more money and you make us to pay more for their stuff. But look, it doesn't matter who becomes president in Liberia. In America, they will still dominate you. It doesn't matter whether it's Democrat, Republican, in the middle, green, they will still dominate you. That is it.
Thank you.
Unless we don't want to admit to that.
Anthony Gay. Oh, Anthony Gay is done. Dr. Booty is done. Let's go to.
Thank you, on you.
Okay, guys, let's go. Dr. Booty, 1 minute.
I ain't talking about my protest, my man.
Right, so Mr. Gay, stop interrupting. So basically, look, I think the situation in Liberia when it comes to the House of Representatives is a shame. I herald Speaker Kofa for standing up, even though he's on borrowed time. I think once the process is applied, most people who were supporting him now might even vote to get him out, but they are sticking with him for now because they want the process to go how the process should. And all Liberians, irrespective of which party you're with, should want processes to be in place, because that's one way we can hold our leaders accountable. I think the 25 million, I go with Mr. Gay. I think his point is very salient, that we should use that money to invest in developing our STEM systems in Liberia, education systems in Liberia, build a STEM center and bring people there for the first 10 years to run it, and then train our people so they can take over. And in terms of President Trump, look, I said to someone at work recently, let's wait and see what happens, right? This is his second term. I think he will be after legacy more than what I think in the first term, he was trying to please the base. For a second term, I think now that he has no restriction, he might do something different. I'm hopeful anyway.
Thank you. Mr. Nambe.
Yes, I like Dr. Booty. I agree with him most of the time, and I agree with his first points, but I disagree with him on his second term. Trump has seen the limits to which he can push the system. The Supreme Court has given him a lot of leeway, and he's going to maximize on that. I think we're in for very, very terrible times. I think he is going to test the system. He's coming in with a lot of vengeance, a lot of angst, a lot of grievances. He believes he was persecuted by the Democrats. He's coming in here to pay that. So I think it's going to be a very, very rocky next 2 years until he's balanced out. But yes, I agree with Mr. Gay. I think that he's going to apply a lot of breaks, a lot of the benefits that we get here. Student loan was the Biden administration did the best to put a lot of gaps in place to give us kind of breathing space on student loan repayment. All of that's going to be taken away. So now student loan, we're going to resume paying all of that. And when we begin to do that, it will also squeeze out of us. I agree with Mr. Otawo. The tariffs, he is a guy, he believes in tariffs. He's going to impose tariffs, and we are going to pay. We're going to suffer the consequences. So yeah, I think these are going to be the next very, very difficult 2 years ahead. We'll see. Which the Democrats are giving, I appreciate President Biden for getting out of the race, but he should have done it a lot earlier to giving us the time to sell our message. We didn't have that opportunity.
That's Monday morning quarterbacking, man. Yes. Monday morning, y'all finish losing. Anthony Gay.
Anthony Gay finish.
No, he's closing.
Closing, go ahead. 1 minute.
Gay close.
Oh, okay, but okay.
Let me close. Look, I was
okay.
He already closed. Let me close.
Okay.
But listen, I want to thank you.
Wait a second. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello.
Now, Mr. Pablo told you. You just picking on me for nothing. That Mr. Pablo.
Gay, go ahead.
All right, my man. I got 1 30 seconds. Liberian, the only answer we have right now is you standing up for your democracy. And so I want to urge you as a Liberian as well that on Tuesday, make your way to the nation's capital at 6 a.m. Let's gather there. Let's tell these people that they work for us.
Washington, D.C.? Washington, D.C.?
No. Capitol Hill in Liberia.
Okay. Thank you.
He's
Mr.
like, bro, that's
Towel.
easy.
He said we. He
What
come
you
here,
talking
my
about?
people. Then we talking about
Yeah.
you not be there.
I want for everybody,
My
African, to
app will
get
be
this
there. My
book.
resources will be there.
Read this book. Get this book. Most of the questions you are asking is already in this book, Blueprint for Black Power.
Okay.
Okay, but look,
Okay,
to close,
all right.
yeah, to close
I
and
will
read this
read
one
it
too.
and tell off.
To close, look, gentlemen, the Liberia is in a mess. I predicted it in December last year when I came here that it was not that this administration is going to be worse than the Weah administration. And it's not because I knew Boaka, but it's because I know how the system works. Mr. Gay said that we should put some steel plants and all of this stuff. The reason it's not possible is because of how the government they give you a structure. The Brentwood system is going to dominate you. Liberia is not allowed to build industries. If you go and look at the loan system that is set up, you can only get concession loan. You can only give a concession. You are not allowed to. They will call in and they will bankrupt you. Look, y'all keep asking, it's not that other systems don't work. But any other system that try to work, look at the fight they have with Cuba. Look at the fight they're trying to overthrow in Venezuela. Look at the fight in Iran. Look at the fight with China. Because anytime you want to bring up any system for you to push it, because they have all the means and the infrastructure, they do everything to bring you down to prove that no other system can work. It is not that those systems fail on their own. It's that because they make sure that it doesn't work if they can overthrow that system. Go ahead and buy Mr. Perkins' book, Economic Hitman. Go and buy those books. These are ex-intelligence officers and read on how they run things. So, Liberian, please don't go anywhere and demonstrate. Please do not demonstrate.
Oh,
Don't demonstrate anywhere. The reason, because don't let people sit in America here tell you to come and demonstrate. Barkers then did it.
so how do we make the change, Mr. Tao?
Listen, when Barkers and King came as recruits, when they were telling you to demonstrate against the Congo people, yes, they were doing the wrong thing. But where were the Barker group, the progressive, leading you? Back into the Brentwood, back into the Western hemisphere, which still yield the same result. When Taylor came, they told you to come and take gun. Where would they bring you? Back into the center. When Ellen came, none of them have any real answer unless it's to dismantle and actually overthrow the entire system. Don't go and risk your life.
Thank you.
Mr. Tao, let me tell you, it is because of Blackers and others that
Jimmy
you have the
Eastman.
black guy in the mansion today.
Jimmy Eastman.
Yes, very good discussion today. I don't see Liberia doing anything good, and it's because they are not putting the fundamental things. Mr. Tao, all of y'all are builders here. If you're not doing the things that will get you there, how will you get there? So they're going to end up probably selling the mountain, Kisi, Putu, whatever, and divide the money amongst themselves. And of course, when we do negotiate with these people all the time, we learn these things 30, 40 years ago, that they when they say I over give you 25 million loan for you to go to their university, who is benefiting? It's them.
Yeah.
They never, every time that you need to really take a study of yourself and your economics and know what you need, then fight for that. But just because someone's giving you a loan, so it doesn't mean it's good. And that's a trap we have fallen into before. It's unfortunate though, because Liberians are hopeful and they're very promising. But right now, we don't have the leadership we need to make progress. I hope it changes in the next 4 years.
Thank you. Mr. Pando, bring us home.
Okay, so I'll try to be really quick here. So when it comes to the House of Representatives, I'm not a Kofa fan. I've never been a Kofa fan. Kofa is a felon, a U.S. felon, what we call ex-con. He should not be a leader in our country. It speaks a lot about who we are and what we allow. But we have allowed him to run. We've allowed him to be a leader. Now, if we want to remove him, we have to follow the law. That's extremely important. Follow the law. When it comes to the 25 million education stuff, look, that is crazy. It makes absolutely no sense. Okay, who did the analysis and found out that what we need in Liberia are STEM students or STEM graduates. Where was that study done? You know, that we have come up with that. How is this going to be selected? We know exactly how it's going to be selected. One, who we know. All the late girlfriend there that passing around will get scholarship to come to America and other places and never go back. Two, they will sell spots to people who are able to get money to pay, and a very few qualified people will go and will be insignificant. It will be a complete crazy stuff. You know, if countries want to help and they want scholarships like how China has been doing in Norway, in Canada, in Cuba, all these places, and they want to just freely take Liberian students to go and study and sponsor it, fine, go ahead and do that. But for us, that's capital flight. We're already struggling for money. Then we should take money again and pay abroad to people. That makes no sense. Finally, when it comes to the U.S. elections, we've seen this before. Some of us have lived long enough to see a lot of things, okay? We saw how Ronald Reagan came into power. It's very similar to this. And all we thought it was going to be this red revolution, and 8 years later, it fizzled away, you know, and then we saw the rise of Bill Clinton and, you know, and Barack Obama and all this stuff. So, I mean, that's how the pendulum swings. Concerning the Bitcoin, people are hiding money. I'm telling you, the reason why Bitcoin went up because people are hiding money.
Why you picking on me?
Mr. Fatma, isn't Trump a felon? We're talking about something else. Is Trump not a felon?
Trump is a felon.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to check.
Trump is a felon. He has not been. Trump is a felon. He has not been sentenced.
But you said Kufa is a felon, and it says something about Liberia that we have a felon in Liberia. What does it say about America?
I'll make the very same statement. I'll make the very same statement. Trump is a felon. It says a lot about America.
Good.
Finally, Obama deportation. Okay, those numbers are skewed, and I'll tell you why those numbers are skewed. Because the reason why they're skewed and how they look like Obama deported more people is because more people try to come across the border during Obama. So if you look at the ratio of people deported and people coming across the border, Obama was significantly less.
Listen,
Trump shut the border down. Nobody was coming across the border, and so therefore deportation appeared as if they reduced.
2.9 million to 1.5 million. There's no skew in there.
Listen, Dr. Booty, this man from the state of Minnesota, blue as blue can come. He's still working. He can Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in next Sunday, same time, same place. Can you take us out, Mr. Eastman?
Okay, you know, as we always say before we leave, no matter where your politics is, no matter where you come from, as long as you're born in that 43,000 square mile zone, we are all Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people.